After Joseph passed away, a new Pharaoh took the throne. And let's just say, this one wasn't as friendly. He saw that the Israelites were going forth and multiplying. A bit too much, like bees on honey. He feared they might start a rebellion against the nation, so naturally, he did what any villain would do. Eliminate all baby boys. The guards didn't even question it. They pulled up like stormtroopers and went off like a good boy. But the worst part about this was, they threw them into the river, filled with bloodthirsty, premium Nile crocodiles. It was madness. But as that was happening, there was a little family who was nearby, and Miriam saw what happened. So quickly she told her mama that the Egyptians are throwing lil babies like skipping stones. But Moses' mother had a plan. She needed to put lil Moses in the river, but Miriam said the river was infested with crocodilios. But it looks like mama told her to trust in God's plan. And with that, they went off trusting God with lil Moses' life. Without any time to waste, the boy was placed in a stable basket, and before they could say goodbye, he was drifting across the river like a supply drop floating through danger. They tried to chase the basket, but it drifted faster than their lil hands could swim. Meanwhile, Pharaoh's daughter and her glam squad were heading to the Nile for a royal bubble bath when they spotted something strange floating near the reeds. It was a baby in a basket, peacefully chilling like he owned the river. She scooped him up and held the boy like a medal and decided, yup, this baby was getting the royal treatment. Somehow, that baby went from river rescue to palace privilege in 0.5 seconds. And they say I have plot armor. But just like that, Moses became a full-blown Egyptian prince. He got the outfit, money, and the hair. But one day, while wandering through the palace, Moses stumbled into a restricted chamber, and what he saw changed everything. It looked like Hebrew babies being tossed into the river like it was part of palace plumbing. Then unexpectedly Pharaoh came in and tried to make Moses feel better, saying they were only slaves. But this only made things worse. Determined to learn more, Moses went out to see what life was really like outside the marble halls. And that's where he saw it. His own kind, the Hebrews. Enslaved. There were too many to count. They were all forced to work on some sort of project, but they weren't getting paid. So quickly, he made his way down only to find a guard who wanted to show Moses how to discipline these forced laborers. And oh boy. Arise! You better wake up! You're about to get your cooked! It was too late. The guard went up and pulled the blicky on his But that wasn't enough. He pulled up his bat and knocked the boy cold. Moses had seen enough. One swing, one strike. He completely deleted the guard out of existence. The boy didn't just faint, he was deleted. Moses froze, he panicked, and sprinted to the exits of Egypt. He slowly walked across the guards with guilt rushing through his veins. Then suddenly, Ramesses caught up to him, offering royal forgiveness. But Moses couldn't forgive himself. Instead, he left his royalty and dipped. After Moses dipped out of Egypt, he stumbled across a strange new land called Midian. From a distance, he saw a group of people dancing and singing for the Lord. He was confused, but suddenly the Huz pulled up and asked if Moses was new here. The boy hit him with a corny line, trying to sound smooth. Before it got more awkward, a big man stepped in and told Moses he was in the wrong block, and continued by calling his cut chopped but out of nowhere. He offered Moses a job. Moses accepted and immediately ran off. Wait, Moses, that's the wrong way! A few years flew by. Moses became a goated shepherd. Until one day, one rebellious sheep decided it was time to break the rules. The sheep took one look at Moses and just jumped off the map, straight into the mountains. Wait, Moses, don't follow him! But Moses chased the sheep anyway. He chased the sheep all the way to a big mountain. I didn't know sheep could be this slick, but that's when it stumbled across something that made it look like he was traumatized. Bro, what? Did the sheep just talk? Moses froze, and was filled with fear, and there it was. A burning bush. Turns out it was the Creator himself. Then he spoke to Moses, telling him he needed to free his people, the Israelites. But Moses was being a scaredy cat and didn't want to do it. But God humbled him real quick. Talk back once you create your own stars from nothing, and exist before existence itself, lil bro. To prove he wasn't playing, God told Moses to drop his staff, and it turned to a snake. Moses was amazed after seeing that. So he headed straight to Egypt. Moses faced Pharaoh, and told him that the God of the Hebrews wanted his people free. But the boy was stubborn and didn't even consider it. So Moses decided to show him the power of God. Moses threw down his staff and summoned the snake. Pharaoh wasn't impressed and called in his magicians. They popped up like discount villains, threw their sticks down, and snakes appeared. But something was off. These snakes looked like they came from the palace bathroom plumbing, probably running on 5 FPS. Then Moses' snakes slurped them like noodles. They didn't even put up a fight. It's like a nuclear bomb versus an infant. They kept making excuses, saying it was just luck, and still kept yapping like, bro, I bet Pharaoh believes the earth is flat. After the snake incident, Pharaoh was done. He told Moses to get out dismissed like yesterday's leftovers. So Moses and Aaron walked out. Pharaoh went straight to his royal yacht, chilling like nothing happened. Moses came back with one more chance. Let his people go. Pharaoh still refused. That was a mistake. Moses' time to show this boy who he's messing with. He went down to the Nile and turned the entire river to blood. All the crocs gone instantly. The whole river was now a Red Sea smoothie. The Egyptian magicians tried to act smart. Biggie Piggy wanted to eat the crocs, and Skinny Timmy claimed it was just food coloring. Pharaoh believed them. This boy is why they have instructions on soap. Then a soldier decided to chase Moses. But then he blew up, gone like Pharaoh's brain, so Moses dipped. one plague down. But Moses didn't give up so quickly. He came back for more and approached Pharaoh asking him to let his people go for the third time. But as expected, Pharaoh denied it. But now it looks like Moses was going to send Shrek in the swamps if he wouldn't listen. But Pharaoh didn't like the disrespect, so he told Moses to leave and stop yapping. I swear this boy will never learn his lesson. But as Pharaoh went down the stairs for a walk, he came across thousands of frogs in front of him, and boy, it looked like Moses was right. God really did send Shrek and the swamps into their land. The entire nation surrounded Egypt and made their streets smell like fart spray, just like They invaded the land of the Egyptians, aura farming in front of them. But now Moses came back, stepping on them frogs, asking for the fourth time to let his people go, and boy oh boy, Pharaoh still doesn't believe in God and refused to follow. So Moses told him to check his cut, but Pharaoh didn't have hair. But that's when one of Pharaoh's boys started complaining about his head. Oh, now this is what happens if you're a stubborn little baby. Look at your boy! Right. So Moses went off, and boy, that was just one out of the many plagues. As 2 Egyptians went outside to tend their plants, they were creeped out by the sudden frogs. But they continued with their day, though that's when a huge amount of flies started to appear out of nowhere. Probably because the place smells like your skibidi toilet. After that, there was this shepherd. The boy was just minding his own business, talking how the sheep was his life. He spent 20 years getting all these sheep, though that's when they suddenly died. All of them. Gone. Poor boy lost it all. Despite all this, Moses came back giving Pharaoh another chance. Just let his people go, boy. Okay, pal, what the actual Sigma? What do you mean? This doesn't prove anything. Are you blind? Can't you see your own land falling apart? Look at that poor boy. But Moses didn't even want to argue. He just left and told Pharaoh what was coming. So as Pharaoh was standing there, his other servant came back looking like he just had a bath in a microwave. The sun was too hot, and Sir Skinny Timmy just got himself a quick tan. Now bro was straight up yapping to Pharaoh, claiming it was the sun god Ra. That was when the soldiers came out, attempting to smite the frogs out of existence. But as they did, the temperature suddenly shifted at an alarming rate. It went from boiling to frozen. Look at what happens when you disobey the Almighty. Now you're stuck and have nowhere to run. Now we're back to my boy Hamoud. And at the moment, the boy was just embracing his only cacao tree after losing all his sheep. But that's when the locust fell straight down from the sky, devouring the poor boy's tree until there was nothing left to be seen. But it wasn't over. They started to nibble on the boy's only possession he had left. Man, I wish I could do something. But this is how the story goes. He lost everything at this point, so the locust went off and ended his misery once and for all. After that cruel moment, Moses went over to Pharaoh for the last time, and it looks like Pharaoh was teaching his son false information. But now, Moses asked for his people to be set free. But since Pharaoh was stubborn, he had to reveal the power of God once again. This time, the sun hid its face from the earth, making the environment turn to complete darkness. So this was the very last warning Moses gave Pharaoh. But guess what? He said no. So Moses just dipped out. But as he did, the angel of death suddenly appeared aura farming, completely mogging at his creature. Now this was the last plague, and most likely the worst. The angel of death was sent to kill every firstborn in Egypt. This was the punishment for the wickedness Pharaoh did to the innocent children. But as he went to enter the next house, he ignored it, thanks to Moses telling the Israelites to put blood on the door made by young lambs. But back to Pharaoh, everything was going to go downhill from here. It was time to teach Pharaoh what happens when you mess with the creator of the universe. His son fell to the ground unconscious and dropped dead, losing his life just by the presence of the angel. At this point, Pharaoh was officially humbled by God. Before continuing, make sure you join my Discord server to join videos like this, and don't forget to subscribe. Moses then went ahead and demanded the freedom of his people for the last time, and to everyone's surprise, Pharaoh gave in. All he could do was sit in his chair and cry like a weasel. So Moses and Aaron went ahead to gather all the Israelites. You boys are finally getting out of here. They all celebrated the good news, but not all were happy. Moses then walked through the night until they made it to the desert, where Moses prayed to God because he didn't know where to go. And guess what? An entire tornado was summoned. The Lord gave it to them as a guide. And during the night, it transformed into a pillar of fire lighting up the area. Every day and night without rest, they followed until they finally arrived at the Red Sea, where they finally had time to chill at the shore. Meanwhile, back in Egypt, goofy Pharaoh changed his mind and wanted his slaves back. Furious, he prepared his army for a massive attack. Quickly, they hopped on their ponies and charged towards the Israelites. It turns out Pharaoh couldn't even keep his own promises, just like he can't keep his son. But suddenly, they were stopped by a pillar of fire and couldn't keep moving. Pharaoh was furious. Moses then realized that they needed to get out of there quickly. But with nowhere to run, one of the Israelites cried out to Moses saying it was all over. Another boy even doubted God. Moses was quickly running out of options. He quickly ran towards the Red Sea, and with God by his side, the water levels were drastically depleted and the ocean was divided. I mean, just take a look at those walls. Absolutely massive. A path through the impossible was made. But while crossing, the fire suddenly stopped, and the Egyptians wasted no time charging back to the Israelites. The road was a bit bumpy, so they had to get their toes involved, but it was already too late. The Israelites had already crossed the Red Sea, and the water flooded back, drowning Pharaoh and his men. Now, Moses and the Hebrews could easily march towards the Promised Land without any problems. Or so they thought. Moses and his people had been walking through the desert for 3 days without food or water. The Hebrews got so thirsty they started to complain to Moses for hours until they found a weird pond. One curious Hebrew sprinted to the water and took a sip, then instantly started acting strange and basically exploded from the germs. The water was bitter and impossible to drink. So once again, the people whined like children. Moses, being faithful, he prayed to God and touched the water with his staff, and the muddy pond miraculously turned almost as clean as my teeth, and their thirst was finally relieved after so long. The camp settled in for the night, and they chilled around the fire. Moses even showed off his goofy dance moves to some of the Hebrews. But while checking the tents, he spotted something in the distance. It looked like strange men watching them preparing to attack the tired Israelites. Moses rushed to Joshua and commanded him to lead the defense. Joshua didn't hesitate. He gathered his own Delta squad ready for war. Charge! The Amalekites versus the Israelites, who will come victorious. The Israelites marched their way to their ops with their swords out, and boy, oh boy, I think the Amalekites are losing. They were getting bullied so hard they had to retreat like cowards. That means we have our champion, Israel! Exhausted from battle, God sent them manna and quail from heaven to eat. Once they were full, they continued the long journey, walking and walking day and night and day, until they finally stopped near a mountain. After they set up the campfire, Moses' spider senses kicked in. He felt God calling him to climb the mountain. Lightning flashed, trees got zapped, and clouds swirled as he climbed. After hours, he reached the top and found a glowing garden. There, Moses met God, King of the universe, for a private meeting. Meanwhile, the Israelites got impatient because Moses was taking forever. One Hebrew suggested melting their jewelry to make a golden calf to worship. Terrible idea, but somehow they were dumb enough to do it. They began praising this goofy calf like it was a god, even though it was just made out of cheap jewelry. Back with Moses, God handed him the 10 Commandments. So while Moses heads down the mountain, here they are. Love God with all your heart and soul. Don't
worship idols.
Respect God's name, don't misuse it. Make sure to keep the Sabbath day holy. Honor your father and mother. Do not Whoa, Moses just did a 360. Oh, my bad. Where was I? Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't desire what belongs to others. Basically, don't envy. Anyways, when he saw the people worshiping the golden calf, he was so furious he absolutely destroyed it. So the people were furious. Moses reminded them that only God was worthy of their worship. Once they finally settled down, Moses returned to the Almighty and awkwardly requested for another set of commandments to replace the ones shattered beside the golden calf. He also asked forgiveness for the foolishness of the Israelites, and God, being the most merciful, forgave them. Now, Moses received a fresh new set of tablets. God stopped him. He revealed the blueprints for the tabernacle, a portable holy place, God's footstool on earth, and the Ark of the Covenant, the most holy and mysterious object in the whole Bible, both of which are the most sacred and powerful symbols in all of Scripture. But when Moses was planning, he had a problem. None of them knew the land well enough to find anything useful, until this strange unk pulled up out of nowhere, claiming he was a pro at mining. Surprisingly, he led the people to a cave. First we mine, then we craft. Steve collected the ores like a legend, and the Israelites left the cave with 6 or 7 tons of gold. The trees were next, and not a single log was left standing. Seriously, look at this monstrosity. After that, they went and scooped up oil like the American government. Across the map, a man named Amir was peacefully sleeping in his little shop. But when the Israelites came to buy fabric, he tried scamming them, yelling, 200 coins for 1 piece. Joshua was not having it. He pulled out his blicky, and Amir got so scared he practically donated the fabric, 1 coin each. Satisfied, they headed back towards camp, and with the materials finally gathered, piece by piece, they began building the tabernacle. And while the structure was going up, Moses had the ark crafted and placed inside. And with that, the Lord stayed with them, appearing as a great cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. So if that's cool, subscribe.